letting Christine in. Hi, baby.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are y'all?
You know, we groomed. We put on some
I know y'all look fancy.
looks because we've almost done it.
I know. You were like totally fresh last time I saw you. I feel like we switched.
I
Y'all-
know. How are you feeling after your incredible adventure of fortness last night? Do you still have your fort up?
No, I was just trying to show you. It's looking a little sad. It's just sad now,
Aw.
but that's okay.
Olive needed her stuff back.
She did. Olive was pretty anti-fort. We found out. Should we do this?
Yeah, we're gonna do this. I think what we're gonna do, Christine, we're just gonna wait one moment while people transfer over, because we told them we had to start a new live stream because we were hitting the 12-hour mark on YouTube.
Oh, I'm glad it lasted that long.
Yeah, that was the longest one yet.
Hey.
I'm so glad that it didn't cut out during the dance party. That was the biggest one for me. I was really worried, and it didn't cut out, and it didn't cut out at all during yours.
Hey, yeah, the dance party looked awesome.
Oh my God, it was so much fun. I realized I said this to the last folks that were hanging out with us, that I think I just want to have queer block parties on the internet, and like individual, like people just do their small, like these small little very real life, intimate, non theater-y expressions of art and gender and queerness. So maybe this is the thing we're doing.
This is the time to do it.
I know, right? It also just like all the queers falling in love on the internet is the other side. Do not leave.
I feel like it's not a new stream. I don't see the new stream.
Really?
Keep refreshing.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Technical difficulties. I took the other one down at this point. Give me one sec. I will fix it. Katie, do you want to, you and Christine, cut your bread while I fix this?
Wait, oh no, it's happening now. Okay. Okay. I just needed to wait.
Okay, hold on. Technical
Okay.
difficulties.
It's working now. The other video is still live, strangely enough. Yeah. It's the lag.
I will fix this then. Hold on. I know. Here, go cut your bread.
I'm cutting my bread now.
Is it not the time to cut it?
I mean, I just took it out like an hour ago.
Okay.
I think that's the time to cut it.
Okay, maybe it's time to cut it.
Yeah, because then the butter will still melt.
Yes, it's in a lot of ways it's still cooking, but it's fine.
What type of bread is it?
It is a sourdough boule.
Yeah.
Hey Margaret, you want a slice of sourdough? It's still warm. Okay.
Y'all, while you're working on this, I realized that last night was the latest I've stayed up since the night before I first met you, Catherine.
Oh, really? That was an incredible moment. I think for all of us, every single one of us.
Oh my God.
You had a great time though, it sounds like.
It was very fun. I don't think I told you, but I like really strongly considered taking a nap in Prospect Park after our meeting because I used to live near there and I was like, I can just go like take a little nap in the park. And I was texting someone and they were like, no, go home, take a real nap. Do not sleep in the park.
Sleeping in Prospect Park is nice. Like the part of Prospect Park you would have been in would have been like, there would have been a lot of like lesbians with their small children.
Yeah, I used to live like right near that part. So all
Oh,
of it,
right. Yeah.
yeah, but I got talked out of it and was just reminded of that.
Hey Kelly, hey YouTubers. Al's there. Good morning and happy Lesbian Visibility Day from an invisible ghost.
Mm.
I'm hearing Katie's bread situation is making me hungry. Hey Jill. Love it, love it, love it.
Are you put butter on your bread? Want me to butter your bread?
Oh, that's also the queerest thing on the planet. Buttering the bread of the one you love. Also, check out the Zoom pants situation with Katie.
Shorts. That's pretty amazing.
Professor on the top, party on the bottom.
I love it. I did that for a meeting like right after stay at home and forgot that I wasn't wearing proper pants and like got up in the middle of the meeting like Katie did. It was a choice.
It was a choice. All right.
If I give you butt, will you eat it?
What? I bet. You love eating ass, don't you? Nothing? Really?
What?
Huh?
What'd you say?
I said you love eating ass, don't you?
I mean, I didn't used to be a butt person, but
Are you now a butt person? The biscuits were making me hungry yesterday. What is cream of tartar?
what is good? Oh, who noticed the cream of tartar?
Kelly.
Cream of tartar. It's a baking thing. It's like it keeps if you're making a meringue, it keeps you from overbeating your eggs. So you can be very, very. Also, I use it in snickerdoodles.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah, it gives it a like weird smell.
Yeah. Cream of tartar creeps me out. I just use things that don't call for it.
Well, the like recipe I grew up eating of snickerdoodles had cream of tartar in it. So
Is cream of tartar fish? Did I make that up?
I don't think so. I think it's a chemical.
It's a good old chemical.
Yeah, I think it's like baking powder or something, like in terms of how it's made. It's made in the lab. Okay.
All right.
Have enough people transferred over?
Yep, we're good. All right, people, we're going to start this shindig. Christine's going to read stage directions. I think what'll be useful, Christine, is if you take out your vidya.
Turn off my video?
Yeah. Is that okay?
For sure. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
And we're going to read a couple of things about the play is that we've never been in a room together to read it. There has been a reading of this play, but I was not there because long distance, love affairs. 2, I don't perform. I'm a director these days. So the reason that I'm reading is that we felt like it was important for both of us to finish this experience together. And this play, while it's not us, is not us. The other thing to envision is that there is a large ensemble of movers, dancers, body movers in space. Iman, who is our scenic designer, made this incredible design that had this long runway running through it. That then, for those of you who know Reggie Ranch, has these huge doors that open. So we would have this long runway that goes up and the doors open and all this expansive space where people are moving. So the idea of time travel, of being in space, of depth of time, of like the longevity of the expansiveness of it, and also the illusory nature of it, how it's can feel so intimate and also so fucking far away. So those are some things to imagine when we talk about the women moving, when we talk about black holes, when we talk about space opening up. So keeping your creative imagination on that. This thing needs another couple edits, so be gentle with your thoughts and feels. But let us know how you're feeling and vibing. And my biggest note to you, KT, because I am still a director, is don't act. Just like read the words, be and exist, and allow yourself to enjoy the fact that this might be the only time that you and I read this together. Because I'm not going to perform in it. For those of you performers out there, email me. Okay. All right, we ready? So Christine, you can start at KT, the stage direction at about Red River.
KT and KW sit at a booth in the Red River Cafe, a greasy spoon diner in central Austin. A waitress intermittently comes by during this exchange to give them more coffee. KW and KT are laughing and making plenty of noise. They are mid-conversation.
Yikes, that is something.
Yeah, we had to leave after she started telling the damn story and showing us her ring.
Yeah, well, I feel like I have a lot of friends now who are like, I'm queer, but only get dick down. I mean, it feels really fucked up for me to like, oh, your identity isn't your identity. I get dick down too, clearly. But all the privilege of being with your really hot boyfriend makes you feel really, really comfortable too. I have a lot of questions about that, because if I'm not eating pussy, am I queer?
Well, not all women have pussies.
Thank you.
Just to be clear.
Wait, hold on for 1 second. KT, cut me off with the dashes and get in faster. Move it along. You're being a little lazy there. Get in on the dashes. It's conversational, it's fast.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Go from, well, not all women have pussy. Please.
Well, not all women have pussies.
Thank you.
Just to be clear.
Thank you.
But yeah, you can be queer and that's great, but this is the most straight lady thing to be like, I'm crying and the proposal is a surprise and it's curated and it's documented and I could share it with people and I have a ring. But then she kept on talking and I'm like, yeah, this is officially where it's starting to be very heteronormative. You can do whatever you want behind closed doors, but what you do, why do you have to be so open about it, is the joke I want to make.
Why didn't you say that?
It wasn't worth it. She's a friend of my wife and I don't want to stir shit up. I'd rather just complain about it behind her back. Although what I did want to really say to burst her fucking bubble is that marriage is actually just about sharing your resources and getting healthcare. It's about love too, I guess, sort of.
Well, you know what they say.
All those people who told us things.
Gay divorce. It's what we're actually fighting for, not gay marriage. Like, we sort of want to love, but what we really want is to be normal and fail like the straight people.
How do you pay for insurance?
My partner put me on his.
I'm glad your boyfriend put you on his insurance.
Yeah, it's expensive though. I think I might go into Medicaid or Medicare or whatever it is when I move to New York.
When?
I haven't gotten into school yet.
Yeah. New York has an insurance thing?
Yeah, it's free and you can see doctors for no money.
That's nice. Some things are good about New York then. You know, there's people who are like, everything in New York is better. It's New York, the best city on earth. And I always want to point out and laugh at these people and say things like, but you literally walk in garbage every day.
I don't know. New York's weird though. There's just so much money in one place that kind of condensing of humanity is really fascinating. All of a sudden, capital just functions in a different way because all the atoms are squished into one place. I mean, I think about it when I'm flying back to Texas from anywhere. I look out the window and I see empty space, empty space, empty space, small light, empty space, empty space. And all that empty space is really terrifying to me. It's not like a thing like, oh my God, I get to rest in the empty space. That horrible Peter Brook book.
OMG, that book all theater people have to read. I remember it being mildly useful and mostly infuriating.
So bad. Also, someone who should stop making fucking theater.
Peter Brook is dead.
No, he's not.
He's not?
Still makes plays at Tafana in New York. He's like 95.
I thought he was so dead.
No, he's so not dead. I wish he was, because every time I go to see one of his plays, it's like you're in there for 2 seconds and then all of a sudden I just fall asleep because everything is like, I'm a white person. I have a big stick. There is a brown person who's going to teach me a moral lesson that happened in India over 50 years ago. White person walks on with stick, learns moral lesson very quietly, very gently. White person leaves, end of play, drum sound. I just did a Peter Brook play for you.
Oh my God, let's do it. Oh, we should totally have that in our piece.
A Peter Brook play? Yeah, I'm really good at that. I've seen a bunch of them now. I mean, everyone's read The Empty Space and then you go and you see it and you're like, why am I dead asleep? I'm asleep. It's so bad. Time slows down when you're there. An hour becomes 5 years. I'm always worried about snoring.
Sarah Rule loves it when people sleep in her plays because she says it might be the only rest they get.
But do working class people even go to the theater? Is anyone at the theater tired? Or are, other than the theater people who have made the theater, but like, are they even tired because usually they're independently wealthy?
Oof. Working class people see theater in Austin, not in New York.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I can't tell anymore.
Property.
What do you want to make with me while you're still in Austin?
Didn't you say this project was your solo show?
But if you're not invested, then it won't matter to you and you'll take other work.
I will take the work because I have to, but do you actually think that I'm unreliable?
Grad school is stressful and New York is stressful. I had a friend who got her doctorate at an Ivy League and she straight up stopped being my friend. It made her mean and believe she was inherently better than everyone in Texas. She didn't want to be associated with anything that wasn't cosmopolitan or sexy. Those of us who are here get left behind.
You are sexy.
Not sexy enough to make it into the future.
What if your sex is the future?
KT laughed loudly.
I'm not like that. I'm sure I'll change because that is the only fucking constant in the world. But I want to stay in touch. And if I'm still in my relationship, then I'll be coming back here all the time. You got to cut me off, KT. You got to cut you off. No, you didn't cut me off all the dash time.
I cut you off.
You got to cut me off. You don't cut me off. You jump in and I finish. You got to.
I cut you off.
Director. I'm like, I'm gonna. Okay. And if I'm still in my relationship, then I'll be coming back here. What?
Nothing.
Prologue. KW emerges from the booth. Space opens up. Alexis genuinely waits for responses when she asks questions.
Hi. Oh, hi. Hi. Good evening. My name is Alexis. I know some of you, many of you. This is KT. KT knows some of you too. This is a play about us. Well, it's not actually about us. It's about KT and Catherine, who directed this play. She's probably in the back somewhere vomiting. When Catherine called me and asked me to play her, I was hesitant. How do you truthfully embody the person who will then make commentary about whether or not they have been truthfully embodied? Do we have enough perspective on ourselves to even comment if someone is doing a good job playing us? Do we even want people to do a realistic job of playing us, or just highlight the sexy and productive stuff for us, leave all the anxiety and laziness behind? And by me playing the Catherine of the past, do I undo or remake history? Like, does Catherine's past change because I'm reliving it? And does KT have to play themselves inside of a wildly alternative history because of my presence? Is this even possible? Am I scientifically a fucking black hole? Regardless, here I am. And from now on, you will refer to me as Catherine.
Becomes Catherine.
I'm Catherine, and that is still KT. We started this play 4 years ago. KT did, right there, sitting in Red River Cafe back then and right here in this moment. I tried to write a long speech about everything that happened from the beginning of this process until now, but truthfully, it feels like we started yesterday or we haven't even begun yet. I can still feel the shaking in my body from the day that we decided to make this play. Do I have to re-experience that right now for this to work? Other important things to note about the past, present in front of you. When KT started this play, they were in a monogamous 16-year marriage and worked as administrator for UT. I was in a Christian interrelational monogamous heterosexual relationship of 8 years with a narcissist and lived in Central Austin. None of these facts are true any longer. Most of the conversations in the play are real. Oh, they're not real. Most everything is fake, except for KT, who is actually sitting and waiting for me at that diner right now, 4 years ago. She at the time, have ordered steak and eggs and her third cup of watery coffee. I will also order coffee.
KT and KW sit at Red River Cafe, a greasy spoon diner in Central Austin near UT. A waitress intermittently comes by during this exchange to give them more coffee. KW and KT are laughing and making plenty of noise.
As fast, we gotta go fast, KT, on this one. Yikes, that is something.
Yeah, we had to leave after she started telling the damn story and showing us her ring. It was awful.
Yeah, I feel like I'm queer, but I only get dicked down. That's super fucked up, clearly. But like having all the privilege of being with a really hot boyfriend makes you feel really comfortable too. Because if I'm not eating pussy, am I queer?
From this point onward, the scene should accelerate to an insane degree, each moment faster than the last, as if they are fast forwarding through time. By the end, actors are barely making it through their lines. Lots of overlapping. Gestures flow into one another. Time travel.
Well, not all women have pussies, to be clear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But yeah, you can be queer and that's great. But this is like the most straight lady thing to say. I'm crying and the proposal is a surprise and it's curated and it's documented. And can I share it with people? I have a ring. KW, why didn't you say that?
The friend of my wife's, gross.
Wait, she's a friend of my wife. Gross.
Brutal.
Well, you know what they say.
All those people who told us things.
Gay divorce, it's what they were actually fighting for, not gay marriage.
Too, I guess, sort of.
How do you pay for insurance?
My partner put me on his.
I'm glad your boyfriend put you on
Yeah,
his
it's
insurance.
expensive though. I think I might get Medicaid if I go to New York.
When?
If I move to New York, I didn't get. Yeah. New York has an insurance thing. Yeah, it's free, and you can see doctors and things for money.
That's nice. Everything in New York is better. It's New York, the best city on earth, but you literally are getting garbage every day.
New York's so weird though. There's like so much money in one place.
No empty space.
Oh my God, that book theater people all have to read. I remember it being mildly useful and mostly
It's so bad. And someone who would stop making
Peter
fun
Brook is dead.
No, he's not.
He's not.
He's still making plays and he's like 95.
I thought he was so dead.
No, he's so not dead. I wish he was, because every time I go see one of his plays, it's like I am a white person. I have a big stick. There's a brown person who's going to teach me a moral lesson. And it happened in India 50 years ago. White person walks on with stick and learns moral lesson very quietly, very gently. White person leaves and a play jumps out. I just did a Peter Brook play for you.
We have that in our piece.
A Peter Brook play?
Zero Rule loves it when people fall asleep in her plays because she says it might be the only place that they get to rest.
But do working class people even go to theater?
But it's your solo.
I don't think so.
Yeah. But do you actually think that I'm unreliable? You are so sexy. What is it? What if your sex is the future, huh? What?
What? Nothing.
Both KW and KT inhale because they've barely breathed during the whole scene.
Hey there. My name is KT Shorb. I know a bunch of you, and it's good to meet some of you anew. That's Alexis. She knows some of you too. This play is about us. Well, not actually about us. It's about KT and Catherine. Catherine is probably in the back zoning out and checking her phone to recover from vomiting earlier. Originally, this was supposed to be my solo show about desire. There's a thing about solo shows, the whole written and performed by thing makes everything seem very authoritative and authentic. I've created a couple solo shows before. One was very much KT's opinion on something, and the other was very much KT's experience of something. Sometimes in those shows, I played someone else, and sometimes it was assumed I was playing KT. Anyway, I like to think this is a really great acting challenge because not only am I playing me written by me, but I'm also playing a me written by Catherine, who is being embodied by Alexis, who doesn't know me nearly as well as Catherine and who I don't know nearly as well as I know Catherine. So that means there's some juicy slippage that happens between different versions of KT and different versions of Catherine, and have to not only interpret the slippage, but also present it as some kind of cohesive whole. Or if not a cohesive whole, to make sense of why I diverge from the cohesion. Or if neither of those things, to at least justify why I take off my glasses to wipe the lenses from time to time rather than doing so mindlessly, because when we are acting, we must 100% be aware of each and every twitch and flip of our bodies. I could go into a long soapbox about how all identity is a performance and we curate ourselves based on context and blah, 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 but that feels more like fodder for a dissertation, right? Except my dissertation will not talk about that much at all. I can recommend someone else's dissertation that does, though.
KT.
I'm KT, and this is Catherine. And I asked Catherine to direct me. When I asked Catherine to direct me, she was drifting a little bit and trying to do the most with what she had. She thought I was wise and often came to me for advice, though she never really asked for it. When I began working on this play, I was obsessed with Saoirse Nagorn and Roland Barthes in a way that artists get obsessive. I thought I was pretty clever, and I had this friend who I thought was clever too, but who needed mentoring. None of these things are true anymore. Some of these conversations were real at one point. It's difficult to say whether they are still real now. Conversely, they may be more real now than they were when they were first uttered, but perhaps we won't know that until our hindsight makes all clearer. It's difficult to say, though. Some people think there is no such thing as past or future. All of existence is the now. But sometimes it's nice to look back and learn. Sometimes it's nice to look forward and hope. And sometimes it's nice to sip watery coffee with a friend.
Back to Red River, back to normal speed.
Have I ever told you about queer time travel?
Is this Doctor Who related?
Absolutely.
I don't watch Doctor Who. I can't get into it. But wait, before time travel, we were talking about Texas or empty places. It's not condensation. Condensation is water. What am I talking about?
Concentration. The concentration of energy.
Yes, being in Texas makes me feel so far away from that density, and that openness makes me feel really lonely.
That's weird, because have you heard of the 3-day effect?
No.
It's this theory that has kind of like hard science data to back it up. That like if you spend 3 days out in nature, by the third day in nature, there are all of these like cognitive benefits.
Yeah, I've heard of something like this.
Yeah, so your stress levels are lower. You actually are more responsive cognitively. You basically like smarter. You're basically like smarter after the third day. I was listening and like, oh, I haven't gone on a retreat in 2 years and I haven't gone camping in over a year. So I'm like, I need to be in nature again. But I mean, those empty spaces are not necessarily nature when you're flying over Texas. Sometimes they're like disgusting feedlots.
That's true.
But you don't strike me as someone who's like nature averse.
Adverse? No, I like nature. I like going out. I like being in the sunlight. I like being in warmth. If it's warm outside, that's all I want. If I'm near water, I'm a Cancer. I just want to be in the water all the time. I want to be a sea creature. I do like nature.
So yeah, I would love to go in nature. I think maybe what this play needs is us to go into nature for 3 days and see what happens. We go camping to make the show.
Camping to make the show, that slightly stresses me out.
Why?
I was talking about burnout with a friend of mine, and she was like, you have to leave your phone somewhere and your computer somewhere and go away for like 5 days. Just do 5 days and you'll be a new person. And I was like, there's no way I could do that. My life would come to a screeching halt. And it's like, oh no, that's probably real. Not real. That's probably not real that my life would come to a
Not
screeching halt.
real. You just put the vacation responder on.
I know. Our jobs are in professional make-believe, so it's not like anyone's going to die if I'm gone. I'm not a brain surgeon.
Yeah, and if we were brain surgeons, there would be other brain surgeons too. So
Oh, that was deep. So nothing that you do fucking matters because there are always other people to do it.
no, it's like the opposite of what I'm saying. Even if we were brain surgeons, you wouldn't want a tired brain surgeon cutting open your head. I mean, that's part of what the residency after med school is like learning how to cut people's brains open after you haven't slept for 36 hours.
Christ.
It's like a muscle, but
Brain surgeons have really dainty hands.
that's a good question.
It's like with a little scalpel and all the crinkles in your brain, they're so small.
I mean, I think nowadays a lot of neurosurgery is done with robots.
Really?
There's always a surgeon, but like a lot of it is lasers and then it's under microscope. So then it's like through machines that make it smaller. My mom had a neurosurgeon. He was awful.
Why was he awful?
I mean, he just had the worst bedside manner. You could tell he thought he was God.
Jesus, that would be horrifying. I mean, my mom is literally in your hands and you're a douchebag.
Yeah, his manner was basically like, you're going to die, so I'm not going to spend very much time talking to you about this. So here's the basic information that you need to know that I'm going to say really quickly to you. Do you have any questions? Because my mom was dying, no chance of recovery. She wasn't going to help his numbers.
Right. So, but if she was dying, they decided to have surgery anyway.
Well, it was this thing where the neurosurgeon had nothing to do with the cancer directly.
Got it.
We never knew where the cancer was. Just by the time we found it, it was all over her body. She had a subdural hematoma. So her brain was bleeding. And he was like, your brain is bleeding because you have cancer, and we could cut a hole in your head or wait. And so we were like, cutting a hole in the head sounds like not awesome. So we'll wait. And then eventually they did cut a hole in my mom's head twice, actually. It wasn't him that did it, but he was like, I could evacuate your brain, but it's a risk. And underlying it was like, you're dying anyway. So I try.
It's crazy.
He was probably one of the best neurosurgeons in the world.
Where was it?
It was in Massachusetts, Dana-Farber. If it's a Jewish hospital in the Northeast, that's really good. It's a really amazing place, truly.
My grandmother had a brain tumor. She was living in California, and we flew her out to Philadelphia to be at one of those hospitals on the Northeast, somewhere in like one of those amazing hospitals in Philly. I was like 9 or 10, so I don't remember all of the conversations. My mom knows them better than I do, but a conversation around like, we're going to get this tumor out of your brain and it's going to definitely grow back. So your grandmother's going to die. Your mom is going to die, but let's cut her brain open anyway. So I just like have a lot of memories of like my bald grandmother with stitches on the side of her head. It's like, oh God.
My mom, they drilled a hole until she had one stitch, and then there was like a day or two where she could talk after that. And then they were like, oh, there's still pressure. So then they made like a longer one. So yeah, she died with a weird Frankenstein scar on her forehead.
Was your mom vain at all? Like, would that bother her?
Yeah, like she always went to chemo in a wig. Like those wigs are hideous, but she always liked to put on her makeup and like coif the wig. And it's one of those things where like if you looked at her real hard, you could tell she was sick, but she's really good at hiding that she was sick. The only reason you would know she was sick was she was like teeny tiny, like 80 pounds. I mean, she was only 90 pounds when she was healthy. So yeah, she was like very vain. We made sure that it was hidden. The scar was hidden at our funeral, but it was weird. It was Frankenstein-y.
My grandmother didn't care. Even after the surgery and all the chemo, she would go bald. But my mom, is super vain, put my grandma in one of those horrible Cindy Lou Who wigs before she was cremated. But my grandma really wanted to be cremated. And I'll never forget my mom took my grandma's purse and filled it with all the things that like the weird things my grandma liked. It's like one of those like the Werther candy caramel things, and like her lipstick and her neck cream and her mirror, a little bottle of whiskey, because my grandmother was a secret alcoholic. She wasn't she was just in a really miserable marriage, and then she was like free later in her life, and so she enjoyed herself with whiskey.
Yeah, you can't fault her for that.
We only found out because she was sick because she was going out every day and watering the same bush over and over again. And like the neighbors were like, "Hey, the water's getting everywhere." And she was like, "Oh, sorry, I won't water it again." And then every day she would go out and water and then realize that she had a brain tumor. She didn't know what was going on. Time was starting to be really weird for her, and she wasn't going to a doctor kind of person. So it was pretty late by the time everybody found out. But it was kind of crazy. She had like a boyfriend in the midst of that. And it was like, didn't the boyfriend realize who was watching? But I guess he was older too.
These days, old people have lots of sex. They get crazy STDs. It's this little known epidemic. Old people get STDs a lot these days.
Right. Because they're all together just fucking each other in
And
that.
they were never taught to be scared of STDs.
Right. Because that wasn't really a cause. Everyone was like, I've got my chastity belt on, except for my husband, who I don't like anyway, but I've been forced to marry because that's the right thing to do. I was at dinner with my dad over the holidays, and he said something and I couldn't help myself. And I said, okay, boomer.
You did it.
I did it. And I was like, I'm ageist and shitty, but also that statement is ridiculous, which came out of your fucking mouth.
Yeah, I mean, my dad's not even a boomer. He's that old. He's the greatest generation because he was born before World War II. My dad's weird, so.
KW smiles. Connection. While KW continues to silently converse with KT, KT speaks to KW.
What do you want? What are you here for? You come here and sit with your eyes wide and lips pursed. You seem expectant. It's charming. After a while, I can't help it. What do you want? What are you here for? You sit there wide-eyed, affixed and unmoving. Perhaps you touch your cheek or adjust your sleeve. It's now past the window of polite amity. And before I know it, I imagine what the air beneath your nose must smell like, how cool your cheek might be, what color, pink, purple, that place. What do you call that place? I imagine knowing the exact hue of that place. Maybe I don't even think about that pink purple place. Maybe I skip your face entirely and imagine you sitting on my lap facing me with your fingers in my hair, my forehead against your clavicle against an aching clasp that makes me confused about which hands are mine and yours. It's terribly inappropriate. I wonder if you notice, because I feel like I'm blushing. I want you with your wide eyes and pursed lips. And I wonder whether you want me to have inappropriate thoughts about you sitting there, expectant, charming, affixed, and real. I want you to want me to have inappropriate thoughts about you. Terribly inappropriate thoughts. What do you want? What are you here for?
Back to Red River.
Is your dad healthy?
He's okay. He used to be a very active man. He ran a few marathons and his girlfriend isn't particularly active. So he's kind of like becoming out of shape and then half of his hip is metal. It's strange because I always think of him as like, go, 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 but he's 80 now. I guess he's turned 81 this past summer.
Are you close with your dad?
I see him every year, but he's mostly about his girlfriend. He's like the type of person who's about his partner. I'm like, oh, I see where I get that from. So then if I ever need to get in touch with him, I have to text his girlfriend.
You have to text him and his girlfriend? That's weird.
Yeah, and then sometimes he'll respond from his girlfriend's phone, which is weird because he has his own damn phone.
But also the way that boomers are, and the greatest generation, as you call them, handle technology is like, they don't get it.
I mean, he's better because he's basically made his living in computers, so he's not like technology averse. It's more like, my thumbs are too big for this and my manual dexterity doesn't catch up. But of course I say, he's made his living in computers, like his first computer job, the computer required punch cards. And then it went to reel computers. And then his computer kept getting smaller. And that
Now it's just all in your hands. And soon it'll be just a chip in our brains.
that's in my play that you're going to see, basically.
A chip in the brain.
Because I'm like, oh, I have no budget, but we need to show future communication methods. And I hate phones on stage. So let's say everybody has interactive contact lenses. You'll see. It's like, and yeah, so we added a sound effect that's like, boop, huh, great. And I'm like, okay, well, just codify the gestures. So it's like I'm scrolling through the screen with my contact lens.
Yeah, I'm either going to love that or really hate that. There's no in between. That is a choice, and I admire your choices.
Because I'm like, it's not quite miming.
You're like, it's not stupid.
No, I mean, I like, you hate miming and direct address.
I hate indicating, which is what miming is.
Can I have some of your fries?
Can I have some of your fries?
Oh, that's me.
Can I have some of your fries? Is it okay if I eat some of them?
Yeah, and also if you want to eat the steak too. Well, it's kind of sad. All of the food is sad here.
They attempt to eat things. It's kind of sad.
Can you play the server, Christine?
Yeah. How is everything?
Great, really good.
Thanks.
More coffee?
Yeah.
They both pour creamer packets into their coffee mugs.
Do you want to play a game?
Sure.
Take the jelly packets. You want to slide them across the table so they land on the edge of the table, and then you can flip it like this.
KW
Got it.
slowly pushes the jelly packet to the edge and then flips it.
Got it.
You go first.
Okay.
KT laughs, attempts, fails, wins. They play as the following conversation occurs.
Is this something you do often?
When the food isn't the main event.
Ah, I see. Well, did he say that you said, oh, what did he say that you said, okay, boomer?
I'm trying to remember. I was looking out the window being like, what the fuck did he even say to me? It was something about healthcare. It was something about like, I either want everyone to have access to Medicare for all or no one to have access to anything. And I was like, huh? That didn't even make sense. Did someone in an Econ 101 class in the 1970s tell you that? Was it during the Cold War? Why does it have to be all or nothing? was why is in the middle sensitive millennial bullshit?
Do you want more coffee? I'm not going to finish mine. I was too ambitious with my caffeine.
No, I'm good. I'm feeling my immune system being rude to me.
Tell your immune system the following. Dude, chill.
Love that.
Okay, I will give you some dude chill.
Thank you, dude. Chill.
I need to get more dude chill.
We should talk about this play
Yes.
before you have to go back to work.
Yes.
What are you interested in right now? What gets you going?
KT giggles uncomfortably. KW stares. It's awkward, but in a knowing and loving kind of way. KW does this strange, but really, what does though? Look, KT almost as if changing the subject.
There's this symphony by Berlioz that I've been listening to a lot in my office. Symphonie Fantastique.
KT's phone rings. They search through their backpack to grab it. Everything gets put on the table. It's a lot of crap. There's a bottle of gummy vitamins. They miss the call. They look freaked out and start messing with their phone.
Do those gummy vitamins work?
I mean, they're not mine. I don't know.
I'm just curious about the idea of a gummy that is healthy.
It's a little strange to me because, like, how would you know if it worked? Sorry, I gotta.
Exactly.
Calling someone.
It's sort of like a perfect business model.
More ringing. KT takes a phone call from their wife.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, sure. My phone was in a strange place, so it took me a while. That's why I called back. Yeah, I'm in a lunch meeting. Catherine. Yeah, from City. No, you haven't. Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Love you. Bye.
Catherine eats fries while this is happening. KT eventually hangs up. They have been yelled at.
What were we talking about?
I don't remember.
Okay. Boomer.
Yes. You were talking about OK Boomer.
Yeah, all or nothing.
All or nothing. Yeah. All or nothing.
KW is focused on fries.
How are the fries?
So good. I'm sorry. I'm going to eat them all.
Okay.
Is that okay? Or do you want me to not eat them all? They're really delicious. We should share them. They're so good.
They are good. I got them for eating.
There's a pause. They eat.
So tell me more about this symphony. Just an FYI, on the YouTube, I put a link to the symphony because we can't play it here. But if you want to listen to it, you can listen to it because it's all throughout this play. Okay, keep going, Christine.
KT pulls out a small handheld speaker, goes through a dramatic Bluetooth process. It takes too long. KT is not a millennial. The speaker picks up what is happening on the phone. Slowly, Berlioz, how do I say that?
Berlioz.
Berlioz, haven't listened yet, y'all, spreads from speaker to the whole room.
In 2018, KW asked me to make a list of all the things I wanted in a performance. Actually, she asked me to break my desires into maybe, no thanks, yes. Maybe, audience interaction, KW in the flesh, Japanese. No thanks, cynicism, something too clever. Yes, disrobing, bees, bears, nature, sex, whatever that means, conducting an orchestra.
KT begins conducting. KT reaches a point of ecstasy. Berlioz plays louder and louder. Back to Red River Cafe. KT stops playing music out of their phone. KW continues to eat fries. She loves fries.
Well, Berlioz was this French guy who, in a lot of ways, wrote for what is considered the modern symphony. And this whole symphony was essentially about him stalking this actress, which is kind of scary, but it's in 5 acts. And in the first part, this unrequited lover is full of desire and melancholy. And then in the second act, he goes to a ball and meets his beloved, so less melancholy.
Love a ball.
Then the next act is in the countryside, like a pastoral duet. And I guess it's supposed to be about calmness and peace. But then the unrequited love woman appears again to torture him because lady won't give it up to the dude. And the dude is filled with all this anguish. And there is this thundering percussion. And then he dreams he has killed the woman and he has killed the woman he loves. And he's condemned to be executed. And the whole act is about love and death being the same sounds.
And that's it?
No, the 5th act is the Witches' Sabbath. It's all gremlins who come to his funeral, the dance of the witches.
Did the beloved actually die?
I mean, I guess so. It's more of an analysis of what unrequited desire can do to someone, when women don't give you what you want.
And why are you into this?
I sort of get why the dude had that dream. It's either about wanting love, or if you can't have it, wanting to experience a totally different reality. And those desires feel both painful and romantic.
I get that. Everything loving is also wrapped up in some sort of brutality. You don't get one without the other.
Is that what your relationship is like?
Like it. Working from a piece of music, I mean.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd like it. I mean, I never assume anyone will like anything.
So what's our timeline?
Soonish, I'd love to get this moving ASAP.
Cool, I'm in. Can we listen?
Here?
Yeah, on your phone or my phone.
Okay, quietly.
KW begins to play music on their phone. It's Juice by Lizzo.
In 2018, KT asked me to make a list of all the things I wanted in a performance. Actually, they asked me to break it my desires into wants, needs, no thank yous. KW wants a soliloquy about the grammatical issues surrounding pronouns and the ways in which language fails queerness all the time. KW making bread, KW learning how to swim, KW reading a book and falling asleep, KW placing a boundary, KW breaking their own boundary, a chorus of singing women, a chorus of dancing women. No thanks. A lot of poetry that isn't grounded in anything. A lot of half-written sentences that feel devised but only serve a band-aid-like function for the work. Fake laughter, unless it is completely acknowledged as fake. Characters who don't change or half-heartedly do things. What I need, a big-ass dance number that is surprising and thrilling. To explode sentimentality, a funeral pyre for shame, endurance, Juice by Lizzo.
We then see a Rocky-style time-lapse video montage of the two of them rehearsing with varying levels of success. A fast forward through how a play might be made, a vaudeville act for the next generation. Back to Red River Cafe.
Did you read the text I sent you?
Yes, I was really into it.
Really? I thought you'd think it was stupid, like really stupid.
No, it's cool. I mean, the text needs some work. It's a little sentimental, and I think we're both trying to avoid putting journal entries on stage. But also, there's something in the music and the movement and all the questions you're asking. I like the questions.
Yeah, I was just starting to get into the music and writing. Whenever I listen to that symphony, I always end up getting real excited in conducting.
You conduct?
Yeah, it's like my guilty pleasure. I mean, actually, when I started college, that was my dream to become a conductor. That's why I applied as a composer.
Wow, I didn't know that.
But anyway,
No, wait, what happens when you conduct?
why?
Humor me.
I get really sweaty.
Really?
Stop it.
Like, what is your conducting like? Wait. Yeah. No, more. Do more. Like you mean it. Maybe we can use this.
I haven't conducted since college, and even in college, it was just a few classes.
Well, I know nothing about conducting, so
Yeah, but anyone who has a musical background will be appalled. They will know I'm a fraud.
you conduct anything? Like, do they give you those skills in conductor school?
Sure, like, I mean, there are only so many time signatures in music.
Show me.
Didn't you
I
sing?
don't know.
Didn't you sing?
I have a bad memory.
Okay, so we have the most common time signatures, which is in 4. And then there's in 2 and 3. 5 is kind of fun, but you hardly have to do it. And it depends on whether it's 3 plus 2 or 2 plus 3. And 7 is even rarer, and it usually is done in 3 with a hiccup. So
Will you teach me?
sure.
KW how to conduct. KW is not very good at all. They attempt to eat things. It's kind of sad. How is everything?
Really good. Great.
Thanks.
More coffee?
Yes.
Yeah.
They both pour creamer packets into their coffee mugs.
How do you work? I mean, do you feel like this is a useful way of working? You generate material and then we meet about it. Do you even have time right now?
When do you leave?
3 weeks.
So we should probably do a like progress thingy thing.
Sure, yeah, I mean, it will be a little nuts because of my move.
No, I know. I'm just worried that you will forget about it if we don't do something now. And we've been sitting on this for almost a year.
Yes, I hear you. Okay, I will make it work. Can we do a weekend long development in the evening and then a showing on Friday before I leave?
Yes.
And you'll have enough material by then?
I don't know.
Okay, so we should just do it anyway.
Ah, yes, I'll figure it out.
They start to play the jelly packet game.
Will your wife come? I've still never met her.
She's out of town that weekend.
Ah,
Will your person be there?
probably not.
Ah,
It's fine.
is this defensive Catherine or vulnerable Catherine?
Slightly exhausted, Catherine.
Do you want to talk about what's going on there?
I'm acutely aware that I want exactly what I don't want, and I'm trying to remember that so my future self will actually act in my favor. But I don't know, it's difficult.
What exactly is difficult?
There's a lot of stuff about me being white because he's not, and I'm aware that I'm trying my best.
Ah,
Uh,
I mean, can I give you some tough love?
sure.
Do you think you have a fetishizing problem, like fetishizing the other? Like the only relationships you talk about are a black man or a gay woman? Like, do you date white men? Like, not that you have to, but if you're exclusively dating people of color or have gay relationships, feels like you have some stuff to work out. I'm sorry, did I upset you?
No, I'm thinking.
I mean, imagine if we were talking about a white guy who only dates Asian women. You'd have an issue with that, right?
I feel like that's different.
How so?
The server comes up to give them more coffee. Everyone smiles.
Do you want to listen to the Berlioz again?
KW turns on her phone again. The light from KW's phone becomes intense. The sound of rain plays from the phone, a radiating core. KW speaks to a point beyond the cafe.
It's raining. I'm in Atlanta, homeless, living out of my 2007 Corolla. Her name is Shirley. I drive to the aquarium, but the entrance line is too long. I cry. I'm embarrassed. I cry because I'm embarrassed. I get on the highway, head south. It's raining badly. I lean over my steering wheel. I'm nauseous. I ran 5 miles this morning faster than I ever have before. Should I drive my car off the road? I look out into the rain and I see a plateau, water. I see the child we lost, the child I wanted but couldn't bear to torture, water. I see his hands wrapped around my neck, water. I see his lips. I never promised you anything, water. I see us at 17, water, fire in my chest, rotting all the wasted time. My mom calls me. Should I drive my car off the road? I have been told that sometimes our lot in life is to support someone else. Shut your nervous system down and wrap your tongue in so much fucking sugar that it burns holes in your gums. I wish my calling was something that I could swim to and see over the fucking plateau of water. I am meant for something else. It's raining. I measure myself against him, a titan of discipline, a noble creature, a body that does not arouse me, a bruise or 2 or 3 on my arm, a heavy weight lunging at me. I will never be him. Should I drive my car off the road? A plateau of grief, spinning water. I drive.
KW screams, but all that comes out is the sound of rain. Back to Red River Cafe. KT and KW listen to the phone. Berlioz again. Coffee cups drained.
Is this useful listening to this again since you're only here for a couple days? I'm not sure it gets us closer to anything but like hanging out.
We like hanging out.
Is this how you make stuff?
We have time.
Do we?
Yeah, I don't see theaters banging down our door for this non-existent gay play. 2 people came to the development and one of them we paid.
You're an ass.
I'm a truth teller. Yes. Well, right. Let's do it. I'm ready.
I didn't say I wanted to write necessarily. I just wasn't sure what we were doing. What are we doing?
Right. Let's go. Actually, let's record. It's easier. August 12th, 2016, work with KT, Red River Cafe meeting. KT Shorb, thank you for joining me here today. Big fan of your work. Why don't you talk to me about instruments?
This is so formal. You're trying to be fancy.
Come on. KT, tell me about instruments.
Ooh. What about them, Catherine?
Inside of the symphony, talk about them as if they were people, friends even.
Fine.
No, not friends. Like they were other parts of you. How would you describe you at different moments in your life as an instrument?
Complicated.
I'm recording.
I see.
What should I start with? Oh, that's you.
What should I start with?
Trumpet.
If you had to play a pickup sports game with an instrumentalist on your team, do it with a trumpet player.
Why?
They might not be the best at the game, but they'll figure out the best way to cheat and nearly die trying. Don't ever get into a drinking contest with a trumpet player because they will drink you under the table every single time.
More.
Trombone. Trombonists are some of the sweetest musicians you'll ever meet. They're so community oriented. They always think about the repertoire.
Yeah.
And they have a sense of humor. I mean, how can you really take yourself seriously when you look like you're giving a giant tube a blowjob?
Good. More. Tuba.
Tuba. Why?
Percussion.
You can set your watch to a percussionist. If you ask one to remind you of something in 5 minutes, they absolutely will without looking. They are some of the most relaxed people, like they just like jacked off in the bathroom to take the edge off.
Viola.
Oof, poor viola.
Why?
Violists are the slightly less pretty sister of the beauty queen violin. You'd think the violist was gorgeous if you saw her on the street, but her damn sister always outshines her.
Oh.
Almost all violists started as the violin, but one day the string quartet director looked at his gaggle of violinists and picked the one who he thought would complain the least to fill in for the missing viola, and it stuck because she didn't bother to remind anyone she's actually a violinist.
Violin.
Violinists are the worst people.
Ha.
For violinists, fuck, marry, kill isn't a drinking game, it's a to-do list.
Hmm.
And they're always the center of attention, and when they're not, it's only because that guy is standing in their way.
Really?
Yes, and here's why. A good violinist will spend 2 solid years, if they're lucky, sounding like pure trash before they finally make some noise that doesn't sound like a dying cat. Who has the personality for this kind of bullshit? Stubborn sociopaths who want to rule the world, that's who.
They enjoy this. They love it. Their fun is interrupted. KW looks at her watch. She looks at her phone, turns off recorder.
I should go.
Why? I thought you had another 30 minutes.
Good. I don't want to upset.
Ah,
I feel like, I don't know. I feel crazy sometimes.
sucking dick?
Fuck you.
I'm kidding, sort of.
Am I just spinning in a fucking circle?
Would you be more specific?
My anxiety isn't specific. It's quite broad.
I mean, life is anxiety provoking. So yes, you are spinning, but it shouldn't be painful, not like this.
Not like,
Not like Berlioz, I think.
yeah,
Let me walk you out.
it's fine.
No, I want to smoke a cigarette.
Ah, I see.
They walk outside the coffee shop. KT pulls out a cigarette. On the steps, they hear a distraction. They forget what they were headed for a moment. They look at each other.
I am on a horse. I don't know how this happened. I remember that I have not learned properly how to control a horse's gallop. Yet she increases speed. Her name is Constance. In the distance, a figure in gray walks in my direction through the mist.
It is nighttime. Rain pelts me from the side, and I cannot believe it is late July. I don't know how I got here. Ahead of me are 2 adults, 1 man and 1 woman. The man shines a flashlight in the path ahead. The woman clings onto his belt with both hands. Behind me, another man offers something to me, which I decline.
I understand he is my brother, and the 2 ahead of me are my parents. We walk up the trail until we approach a steep precipice. I look to the top and see the gray figure standing and watching us. I stand beneath my mother, pressing on her hips as she scrambles up the rock face. She pants and grimaces. The sky is getting light. We turn around and the sun rises. My mother still as tears stain her cheeks.
My face slick.
Slick. My torso is covered in sweat.
I don't know how I got here.
I hold a limp and warm breathing head and body against my shoulder. I feel her lashes tickle my neck. Her arm is across my chest. I can hear her breathe.
I close my eyes. I see the gray figure. The figure reaches out, but I keep falling. I fall and fall until I open my eyes with a quick twitch.
She asks what's the matter, and I say only a dream.
Back to Red River Cafe, outside smoking. The distraction was nothing.
Did you want one or no?
No, I'm okay. My throat is still kind of funky.
We, j-
We did good work today.
if you say so.
Will you tell me about queer time travel?
Finally, sure. First of all, there's straight time and there's queer time. So straight time is very predictable. And it doesn't mean every straight person lives in straight time, but it's like you're born, you have a childhood, you go through puberty where you mature through desiring the opposite sex. You become an adult, you get married, you have a child, and you die. That's straight time. Straight time assumes linearity.
And it derives its power from that linearity too.
From that linearity and biological reproduction. So queer time, there's a way that queers in history have been depicted as like in arrested development, so that it's like a perpetual childhood. So you'll see in Victorian times, these queer characters are always portrayed as being like children in adult bodies. And then there's the whole,
Something defeats both of them at the same time. KW grabs KT's cigarette and takes a drag.
Okay, so depicted as some sort of like perpetual infancy.
yeah. And then like Freud also, like there's a lot of ways that Freud made especially gay male sexuality as undeveloped and in the oral state, stuck in the oral and anal phase, as opposed to like,
Right. Do you feel like a part of like the co-opness of queerness at the moment has to do with a lot of us queers being millennials, and we're all sort of like trapped in infancy in America because of the 2008 recession and economics
I
and
mean, I generally think millennials as children were exposed to queerness. And then I also think millennials are the first generation that were raised more like how I think children should be raised, which is like, oh, yeah, when you go through puberty, you figure all that shit out. Don't be. I also believe most people are bisexual. So I kind of think that identification as bisexual is like, I mean, I wouldn't say this to a bisexual rights person, but I kind of find it to be not functional
Yeah.
because I'm like, oh, I just assume you're bisexual. And there are definitely people who I respect as queer people who are in heterosexual relationships, but politically, they're always doing the thing they should be doing. Even if they get married, they're very low key about their marriage.
Right. The queers here might be involved in a heterosexual relationship, but most of the time I don't realize it.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a friend like that right now. Her name's Ruth, and she's an amazing queer human. And I recently put her forward for a project that was all queer people. And she wrote this amazing email. She said, "Hey, I 100% identify as queer. I just want to let this collaborator know that I'm currently in a heterosexual relationship. And if that's a project problem, I won't take part." I was like, what? And also, thanks for doing that.
Yeah, like, name here, short, squat, always has an awesome pompadour.
No.
Used to do the box for indie movie theater in East Austin.
Oh, yeah, maybe. If I saw that person, I'd know them.
Never mind then. She handles her heterosexual queerness in a similar way. So queer, has a cis boyfriend, so queer, but time travel. So there's straight time and queer time. So queer time is like, oh, and then there's like during the 80s, queer gay men were seen as having like this guy, Lee Edelman says, like no future because they were living in a culture of death. And the same with lesbians, because basically lesbians were just taking care of like nursing these dying gay men.
So funny. It definitely feeds into lesbian erasure, though. It's like we're still taking care of people.
Yeah, and like,
Mothering.
yeah, and there's this great thing that E. Patrick Johnson, he wrote Sweet Tea. He's like, he gave a talk last year and was like, we talk about how we are nursed by these lesbians. And he was like, I'm very careful to honor that because someone said to me, if lesbians got AIDS, we would just have walked over them on the way to the club. And then everybody was like, so true.
Yeah, that feels right.
So
So, but you said this thing about
time travel. Yeah,
both books on time travel last night, and all the writers were women.
makes sense. I'm a little scared to claim it just yet because I want to prove it in my dissertation that that's going to take a lot of academic, scholarly, theoretical work. I'm like, do I really want to invest in like, because that's going to make me learning all of these theories really well to prove that we time travel right now. It's like an intuitive thing. Queers, we always feel a half second ahead of everybody else. That feels super real. And now I have to go back and watch a Doctor Who episode. I know you've never watched Doctor Who.
I have watched it before. It's not my thing.
Well, the reboot of Doctor Who in 2005 relies on the fact that all the Time Lords died in a time war, but then later, this is a spoiler, later in the series, we find out that the Time Lords have actually put themselves in a second ahead of everybody else. So they exist in this pocket of time. And also, it made them so they're not detectable by the normal means in the world to detect existence. And queerness historically has been through what I was talking about yesterday. Like, we kind of claim historical figures to be queer by the small traces they left behind. Like Richard II is considered to be gay because he would write all of these really flowery love poems, letters to this man. And in fact, the man that he was in love with was executed because the Privy Council thought he had too much influence on the king and he was just like a commoner. And so there are all these historical figures who, all those are called traces, like the flowery letters and all that. We use that as proof, but it's not like proof like a marriage certificate, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, so of course there are cultures that have documented homosexuality, like there are whole books in Japanese about man-boy love, basically, and it's very established that in Japan men love each other. Mostly men would just have like a boy kind of sex servants, and that was seen as completely normal. And then they'd also have heterosexual relationships with their multiple wives, and it wasn't taboo. It was also associated with a certain class, like you weren't going to be a farmer and have a boyfriend.
Right. Because I think also that one of the things I think that scares conservative folks is the idea that queerness is related to elitism.
Yes.
Of like you are educated in a particular way, that you have some sort of self-awareness that you're saying we don't have. Like education equals some sort of queering, and the terror of that for people who, one, maybe don't have access to education, or two, are afraid if we become too knowledgeable, we'll all revolt against sexual and social norms.
Right. Yeah. And of course, there are going to be examples of like the Roman and Greek armies, the infantries.
The Spartans. Yeah, the Spartans, their whole method of fighting was based around having a male lover that you were protecting and in battle with. Like, it's like if you care about people more, you'll fight to the death.
So there's something about, I think the trace is a mode of time travel because it's not a hard document. And sometimes it's like,
Trace?
Ishikawa Suguri plays.
bed baking is officially my hobby. I have two starters in my fridge. One is named Letitia. She's a hearty 65% hydration. I feed with a mix of whole wheat and rye, great for country loaves and darker sourdoughs. The other starter is Martha, and she's 100% hydration of all-purpose flour. She's my pizza and focaccia starter. Bread starters are often called mothers, and I figure they sustain life and nurture appetite, so I gave both of mine very reliable, old-school lady names. Letitia is the daughter of my sister-in-law's sourdough starter. I've had her since December 2018. Martha is Letitia's daughter. When people used to make their daily bread, it was a way to use what would made yesterday to stretch into today. In a lot of ways, it's like a time capsule. There are starters that can trace their lineage back to the gold rush or pilgrim's time or even older. And there's even a guy who figured out a way to capture and resurrect the wild yeast in a baking vessel from a 4,500-year-old Egyptian crypt that he baked bread with.
KT needs bread and sings the rest of the song. KW hands out bread to the audience. Snack time. Back to Red River Cafe.
The trace. So like this thing from the past that we use to retcon someone's queerness.
Fuck is a retcon.
Retroactive continuity, like when you stick a character thing in order to make up for a loss in continuity because someone wasn't paying attention, like inserting some random thing that justifies having you played by an actor rather than you or something.
I'm confused.
Another distraction.
Do you want another drag?
No more smoking. We're too old for this.
I know, I was a bad influence.
I know. Are you having a midlife crisis? No, I'm just kidding.
When will I see you again?
I'm not sure.
Are you coming back to visit? Ah.
I'm excited to feel time differently. Austin is so patient with itself, and maybe it shouldn't be. I'm ready to have no patience.
Maybe we can apply for a grant or a residency soon to get you the money to come back here or to get me to you for the show.
Yeah, I think you should come to me next time. I think that would be good for us in the project. I'm in the middle of school, so it'll just be better.
Okay, I'll find a way to get there. I gotta get back to work.
Okay. I'll miss you.
I'll miss you too.
Pause. No one leaves.
One more listen?
Yes.
They turn on the Berlioz again. This time, the music moves the space. A black hole opens, a huge opening facing vast outside space. An ensemble of dancers are in the distance. They dance with their whole bodies. KT and KW are in Red River, but the black hole stays open while they speak.
Let's look at the video of it.
I hate watching performance on film. It always looks so stupid. It's an energetic exchange. It can't be captured.
Yeah, but we can learn shit from it. And we did a thing. We finally did the thing. We're on our way to a bigger thing.
Okay, it was just so perfect. I don't want to look at it and hate it because in my mind it was perfect.
Can I look at it then?
The women begin to move in relationship with how KW is remembering them. She speaks from a place of memory, not necessarily with how KT is talking about them.
They move so violently.
50 of them on that damn pier.
Screaming into the Hudson.
At the end, I wanted to run after them. I didn't want to leave them. I wanted to be with them forever, to go with them wherever they went. Wherever
The red dresses they wore were drenched in sunlight. They clumped together.
Have you ever seen Shirin Nishat? She's an Iranian artist who lives in exile in the United States. Her work is
I think that their turns were strong, but everything was kind of offbeat.
screaming women next to silent men. Her work totally reimagines existing together.
This dude is filming from a bad angle, so I can't see half of the women.
Are we all inhabiting the same time? What we did that day, what we made reminded me of her.
And I didn't really have an ending. It didn't really have an ending. Like, you didn't sort out how you wanted to move on from the women. They dance and it's exciting, but then what?
It's a gift.
It was the greatest gift.
KW and KT come back together. KT and KW speak the below text together. They share gestures and overlap. They are speaking to us, but they are trying to stay in time with each other, and it's difficult.
I
Say
say
to her,
shut
shut
the
the
door,
sit
sit
down,
take
take
off
off
the glasses.
give them to me. Now
Now
close
close
your
your eyes. Listen.
breathe, open your eyes, listen, breathe, open your eyes,
As
Li- breathe. Do not move as I approach. Stop fiddling with your
with
ring.
your ring.
Sit on
Sit
your
on
hands.
hands.
Be
Be
still.
still.
Now put your hands
Put
on
your hands on your lap.
Stay
Stay
still.
still.
And
As
as
I
stand
stand beside you, touch your right ear to my right hip.
breathe.
Breathe.
If you wish to
If you
speak,
wish to speak, be silent.
if you do not wish to speak, wrap your right arm around my
my
wrist.
waist.
Listen to your breath.
Breath.
Recall the last time
you saw the ocean.
when I put my right thumb on your
My
left
left temple, look up.
If you can
You
see
can
my face,
smile.
if you cannot see my face,
Stand up.
come closer until you see my face. Don't worry.
Don't look away.
The women come through the opening. They take over inside space. KW watches. KW walks into the women, almost consumed by them. KW speaks to the women as KT speaks to her.
You're chain smoking.
I am.
Yeah.
I think I fucked up,
Ah,
but I don't know.
really need to know what you're doing.
Hmm?
Kind of thing it gets you. It's not sustainable. I know.
I know.
Okay.
KW is consumed by the women. KT sits alone in the coffee shop. The server comes up and pours more coffee for KT. KT attempts to write. They stop. They throw it out. Time passes. KT sits alone in the coffee shop. The server comes up and pours more coffee for KT. KT attempts to write. They stop. They throw it out. Back to Red River Cafe.
Hey, how'd your opening go?
Back to Red River Cafe.
They were selling octopus at Central Market today. Made me think of you.
Back to Red River Cafe.
I got accepted to this residency to work on the script. Maybe I'll write something to build on before. Can we chat before I go?
Back to Red River Cafe.
Hey, leaving you another message. I know you had to move our meeting because of your rehearsal, but I was hoping we'd get a chance to chat script today. Do you know when you'll be around?
Back to Red River Cafe.
I'm having like a really hard time. I keep having these thoughts. Are you there?
KW returns from the women. She's different. Back to Red River Cafe.
You want to start over?
Yes.
The whole process? It's been 3 years.
want to start over.
How do you want to do that, Catherine?
Scrap everything, create a new Google Drive and just pretend it's a new project, new subject matter, new everything.
New subject matter. We are the subject matter.
Maybe we shouldn't be. This was supposed to be your solo show and now it's our show. How did that even happen?
I thought we agreed on that change. I need you to be more specific about starting over.
You don't.
I do. Please. Why do you want to erase all this time and work?
Because this isn't what I want anymore. Coming and going from Austin is painful. I have fucking panic attacks. I can't walk down the street without being straight up scared. I'm trying to like leave this place and I want this project to be new as well.
Look, we can work on alleviating all the personal stuff, but to act like we can start from scratch, that's not even realistic. And to think so is unfair.
You should leave too.
Why are you being so aggressive with me?
Because I just love to restart this project and pick something else to focus on. I'm not happy when I'm here. And unfortunately, you are here.
I've put so much time into this. I keep checking in and adjusting. I know I'm not bright and shiny.
That again? Don't you even know me by now?
Then why am I not good enough for you?
Why can't you be happy for me?
Happy for what? That you're deluded? That you think things can just disappear if we act like it?
Then we can just stop.
What?
I don't want to make this play anymore.
Huh?
I don't want to fucking sit around and I'm exhausted and all we're doing is killing time and bitching about the love we can't find and recording things and we don't listen to and it's a waste.
Is that what we're doing?
We haven't finished anything.
It takes time.
Stop patronizing me.
I'm trying to understand.
Do you have any idea what coming back here is like?
I know it stresses you out, but you agreed to stick with this. We applied for grants and festivals. You said this is what you wanted.
Anywhere without worrying that he's behind some fucking door and I'll be humiliated or assaulted.
Catherine, I feel guilty.
Now you feel guilty? I'm trying to move forward and you're pulling me back.
Wow, I think you're projecting.
Maybe I am.
I'm here, he's here, but I'm not him.
Don't play therapist.
You're so fucking naive.
You're so fucking condescending.
And straight.
Fuck you.
You're a brat.
You're a fucking loser.
Did he even hurt you, or are you making all of that up too? No, I mean, it's just that he reached out to me.
He what? You're talking to him?
He wanted to work with me on a project.
You're working with him on a project.
No, I'm not. He sent me an email after I saw him in a coffee shop and I ignored him. He came toward me and I walked in the other direction and the email, like, it was so stupid. It was a stupid email and I didn't ask or think that I'm not working with him.
You're fucking lazy and I'm always having to move shit along and I'm always having to be the one who is spinning fucking gold when you're sitting on your goddamn ass and enjoying every single moment of your old ass fucking life. I'm fucking done. I'm fucking done having to be responsible because you're too afraid to make real decisions.
Are you finished?
No. You fucking used me so you could fucking sleep with some child stranger woman. You used me and this fucking show to get out of your goddamn responsibilities. And I'm just fucking sick of making excuses for your childish fucking behavior. Do I have to say anything else to make you get it? You're the fucking problem and I'm done and I want to see this entire diner set on fire.
You don't mean any of this. Take a walk and clear your head.
I'm not the one who needs a clear head.
Catherine claims that between March 2017 and January 2018, we
Christine,
stopped. Is that you?
Katie.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. It doesn't have my name in front of it. Catherine claims that between March 2017 and January 2018, we stopped being friends. I beg to differ. To prove her wrong, I scrolled up and printed all our text messages from that period of time. This is them. I printed them in the Center for Asian American Studies at UT on a holiday so no one would know that I used over 2 reams of paper. Do you know those people in your life who for some reason make you want to pee? Like, you talk with them and keep talking and the conversation keeps going in a way that by the time you notice you need to pee, you've been holding it for a long time. And so then when you actually take care of it, it's kind of urgent and it's the kind of pee where you kind of tear up while you pee or scream and it takes a long time and there's still so much pee. And then after all you remember is that sensation of having to go pee urgently. That's the kind of person Catherine is to me. But maybe she shouldn't have written me as a villain.
KT returns to KW.
Fuck your stupid face of lies and hurt and longing and want and rejection, and fuck your stupid mouth saying nothing and everything all the time. You think I didn't notice, but all I do is notice. You want me to do what you want, but you don't want me to want what I want. So fuck your shitty ass promises and fake outs come wrapped in niceties and appropriateness and tricks to technicalities in your games that are more than real for me. Fuck you and your fucking eyes that make my skin crawl, not out of disgust for you, but out of disgust for myself, because you make me feel like a fucking creep over here. Fuck you for making me feel like a creep when the creep was you all along. Fuck your prey and brainwashing insults and panting treatment and conditioner. Fuck your typewritten letters. Fuck tragedy and the deepness in your heart. I was never meant to ease your pain, yet fuck you for making me think I could.
KT goes to be with the women. Back to Red River Cafe. KW sits alone. The server comes and pours more coffee for KW. Back to Red River Cafe. KW sits alone. The server comes back around. This moment should feel like a record skipping. The women who have come to live in this space now begin to rebuild every moment from the play. They recreate KW's memory as she closes her eyes and tries to remember what each moment felt like. The women take over. They dance as KT and KW lie on the floor, watching the ceiling. They take a break. KW sits up. Back to Red River Cafe.
Can I complain to you for a moment?
We're talking now.
I don't want to talk about the show or what happened. Can I just complain a bit, please?
Okay.
I'm fucking miserable here. Every day I want to stab my eyes out. All I do is eat Cheetos and hide in the art library.
And how is the legendary Bob?
Bob Wilson is the Donald Trump of the art world. Fuck that evil man. He's a dictator. You can't eat meals at Watermill until Bob arrives and allows you to. Every time he walks into a room, there is a moment of silence. I don't get it. I don't get everyone following him around, hanging on his every word. He's an old fool. He thinks he's God. Why is everyone so willing to disappear if it means they're close to greatness? Why are we erasing everything we hold valuable when a huge ego walks in the room? Is this why we make art? So we can destroy other people?
What are you doing there?
A lot of manual labor, maintaining the grounds, and then planting blueberry bushes for Bob's approval.
No art?
There is an exhibition during their rich donor gala. You may or may not get your art featured. You may or may not get to work with Bob. You may or may not do much beside plant things. Depends if Bob likes you.
And does Bob like you?
No.
Ah, I see.
Back to Red River Cafe.
Shall we jump right in?
Sure, I didn't prepare. I don't know what I'm going to say.
No worries. This is an off-the-cuff thing. We're creating content, spontaneous content. Okay, so 40 minutes, discussion topic, randomly horny is the title.
Okay.
The subtitle is Public Moments of Queer Awakening in the Body Body.
Right.
Okay, great. I'm putting a timer, so we're adhering to the rules of the arbitrary game, and we're off.
Are we starting over?
No,
No?
not really.
So what are we doing?
Back to Red River Cafe.
Who is this play about anyway? Both of us now?
I want to be like, oh, little Catherine, you can get excited without having to get sand in your butt or whatever. I mean, if you like sand in your butt, that's fine, but you don't have to have sand in your butt. I don't think I've had sex on the beach. I've had sex in a swimming pool.
You know my irrational fear around that?
What?
I won't have sex in water or let anyone penetrate me in water because I'm afraid that an air bubble will get into my vagina and make its way into my bloodstream and kill me.
That's medically not possible, but that's why it's an irrational fear. So I'm not judging you on that. Like but someone has told you that you can't get an air bubble from your vagina into your bloodstream, right?
I read this screenplay once by this really awful dude who wrote about this lesbian serial killer, and that's how she did it. She had this machine that put this bubble of air into your veins through penetrative sex in water. I don't think the screenplay was very good.
You need a needle. I mean, you can stick a hypodermic needle up someone's vagina and inject a bubble of air, but you can't just, yeah.
These are my irrational fears.
It's okay. I'm afraid of disembodied panties.
KW talks to the women.
Tell me about your future.
In the future, you will fall in love. The future version of yourself will write this entire speech while sitting next to your soon-to-be wife as she tells you all about an ad she's writing.
I feel like I've known her in every single one of my past lives.
In the future, I run a 5-minute mile. In the future, I stick to a keto diet.
In the future, I bake bread without a starter. In the future, I engage in non-monogamy and remain mostly not jealous.
In the future, I am an Olympic swimmer. The first time I tried to swim, I sank to the bottom of the pool. Even after I learned to float, swimming always felt like drowning, or rather, narrowly avoiding drowning. In the future, I decide to teach myself how to swim again. The key I've learned is in making oneself more slippery. Make yourself longer. Make yourself into the bow of a skiff, not the bottom of a tugboat. Push your buoy so your feet align with your torso, slipping through the imaginary slits in the water. The hips are the engine, the limbs, the propeller blades. Side body, side body, side body, breathe. I still get confused. Sometimes I can't quite roll far enough, and in breathing, I panic. My legs drop and I'm bopping up and down rather than moving forward. But sometimes I inhale water, notice pressure in my windpipe, and still look back down to the bottom of the pool and remind myself I have another chance to get air. I push the water out through my nose and, in an act of faith, follow through the stroke to the next breath. Side body, choke, exhale, breathe. Then I think, be long, side to side, don't panic. There's plenty of air. And that's when I know I'm learning to swim and not just not drown.
Back to Red River Cafe. How is everything?
Great, really good.
More coffee?
No. Thanks.
They stand from the booth. They head outside and into a car. Are they on a road or in space? KT turns on the radio. Berlioz plays The Final Movement.
Having this image of this little child made me happy.
Wait, so what? Like, so the image of the little child holding a balloon. How old was that child in your brain?
In my brain, they were probably like 3 or 4. I can't really tell how old children are.
Yeah, neither can I.
I'm like small, medium, large children.
They're just children.
They're just like small, medium, and large.
Did you not want to adopt a baby?
I don't know. The child in our mind was our biological child, the complete mix of us, in a way that we can't really do. At the time we named the child,
Oh, what was the name?
the child's name was Marlon,
Marlon?
which in hindsight, it turned out to be good we didn't have a baby because there have been some Marlins in our life that ended up being weird. So, anyway, but just like stuff just kept happening.
Did you want to carry the child?
At the time, yeah. And now I'm kind of like, and then about 5 years ago, I was kind of like, if we're going to have this kid, like maybe we need to have this kid. Then my ex was like, okay, well, I'm not going to have, if we're going to have a baby, like you need to decide by the time you're 39. So I'm like, okay. She's like, because I'm not going to have a kid. I'm not going to have a baby and be in my 40s or 50s. So I was like, fine. Then, like, when things started breaking down, she would say things to me like, I know why I haven't wanted a child. It's because I don't want to take care of both of you.
Oof, God,
Because it would be like having 2 children.
it's fucked up.
So she's like, you need to figure out how to take care of yourself because before we take care of someone else, it would be weird because she'd also be like, I know you would be a great parent,
Would be a great parent.
but it would still feel like I was taking care of 2 children. So that was hard.
Babies are funny. The thought of a baby is a very interesting thing.
Now I kind of feel more like,
Oh,
do I want to go this way? I'll go this way. Theoretically, I could still have a child, but it would have to be like real soon and I'd have to make it a priority of my entire life.
yeah.
Then I don't really think I want to. Like, there are enough children in the world that are unloved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why don't I just decide to love one that's already around rather than like going through the significant resource eating process that feels a bit narcissistic to me, like finding a donor and getting hormone therapy and fertility treatments?
Right. Yeah. I sort of feel similarly. Like I thought I'd like, oh, I would love to carry a baby. Then also I'm like, yeah, but because of my queerness, I have to plan all that. I'm not going back to me. I'm not going back to men. I'm going to marry a lady. It's like if I'm gonna plan that. Maybe I should plan on loving a child that's already existing. It's not like I can have, oops, I had an accident.
Yeah, I mean, I always joke about that, like, oh, girlfriend, you got me pregnant.
Yes, I do that all the time too. I'm like, wow, last night I can definitely tell you fertilized that egg, baby.
Yeah, but I think about Marlon a lot. I sort of miss him. Missing my imaginary child feels like a very queer thing.
Yes.
They're close.
We're going into here.
And Alexis is already there.
Yeah, she texted me.
KT points the building they were driving past. They notice the women.
Do people just walk around Austin in the middle of the road and be like, oh, look, it's a beautiful highway?
Yeah, I don't know what these people are doing here.
Yeah, there are a lot of people here.
So it's one of those things where it's like when it's a nice day, suddenly there are humans.
Hmm.
The Berlioz still lingers, almost to completion.
KT,
Yeah.
if we don't biologically reproduce, if we're always time traveling, will anyone remember us?
I don't know.
They park the car and head into the theater.
End
Uh,
of play. With 30 seconds left in our live stream of 24 hours.
Yeah. And actually, by the time it streams to YouTube, it will probably be exactly noon.
Good Lord. We have been through a lot. That play needs to get cut down. There's a lot of work to do on the play.
There's a little sag in the middle.
Little saggy ass. It's got a little saggy. It's got a lumpy torso.
No, that's still mine.
Oh, thanks everybody. All these
Aw.
nice people in the chats. We love you. Thanks for hanging out with us for 24 fucking hours. If you are a person who knows us or doesn't know us, find us on the internet and let us know thoughts, feels. There's a ton of work that needs to happen on that play, but I learned a lot from reading it with you. Oh, people
Aw,
it.
people are sweet.
Like Christine, thanks for being an amazing human.
Yeah.
We're done.
Sure.
We're done now.
Oh, this feels somewhat anticlimactic.
I feel sad. I feel a lot of things right now,
Lots of feelings.
but
Feels like yes.
hey KT, I love you. Thanks for doing this.
I love you too, Catherine.
We did it.
I hope we get to do the thing live.
I hope so too.
That
I
would
think
be
so.
good. I hope it's good.
I think it will be good. It still needs more work, but what doesn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go take this makeup off, I guess.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna take this tie off and maybe I'll like go cuddle my girlfriend.
I'm definitely gonna go cuddle
Yeah.
and maybe cry and fall asleep.
Yeah, I think the crying and falling asleep is on my agenda as well.
Please do the thing live. Oh, Jill.
Sweet.
Do the thing live and it's gonna be better because we're gonna figure it out. And we're gonna have so many folks moving their bodies and black holes. Oh.
Rachel wanted bread. Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have bread snack time. We're gonna make bread and share snacks. And yeah, we're gonna do it. Because all the queers need some love. All right, you ready to say goodbye?
Yeah, and we're doing the awkward Zoom wave, right?
Yeah, you say goodbye first.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Love you. Bye, everybody. Thanks.